Alright, so this is going to be a brief tutorial about electronegativity, which is a big word and it looks kind of scary, but really it's actually quite simple. Okay, so what is electronegativity? As simple as it gets, the tendency of an atom to attract electrons to itself. Okay, so you have an atom, you have an electron. Some atoms are more attractive to that electron. Okay, so some of them, the electron wants to go around it a little bit more than others. Okay, now we're going to look at the periodic trend for electronegativity. Alright, it increases going from left to right on the periodic table. So as you're going right, it increases more and more. Now, why is that? Well, as you go to the right, there's more and more protons. So because there's more protons, there's more positive charge in the nucleus, which is attracting more negatively charged electrons. Because opposites attract, the positive protons are attracting the negative electrons. So that's going just left to right in the same period. And then it also increases going from down to up. So as you go up on the periodic table, electronegativity increases. Okay, now why is that? You would think, well, aren't there more protons if we go down? It should be the same principle as left to right. Well, there's a different thing that happens when you go up and down with the electron shells. That doesn't happen when you go across a period. When you move across a period, the shell stays the same. But when you move up and down, the shells change. Okay, so with less electron shells, meaning you're going up, there's less electron shells, there is less electrons repelling each other. So there's these electrons that are kind of in the way between the nucleus and the electrons that are outside of the atom. Okay, and then also with less electron shells, there's less distance between the nucleus and the electrons. Because there's less distance, it's actually it's able to be more attractive. It's kind of like a magnet. Magnets are more attractive as they're closer. So the closer you can get that electron to the nucleus itself, the stronger the electronegativity, the stronger the attraction. So it increases going from the right and up. Okay, here's a periodic table, and I replaced that bottom number instead of atomic mass. I replaced it with electronegativity. And as you can see, as you go down on the periodic table, it decreases the electronegativity. Okay, as you go to the right, it increases. Now, if you look over here, there's some that have these little dashes in them. That's because these atoms don't actually have any electronegativity. There's no known compounds for them, so you can't actually calculate the electronegativity for these atoms, for these elements. But we're kind of just going to ignore them and look over here with the highest electronegative element as fluorine. So if you kind of remember fluorine's the most electronegative, you can kind of remember the trend that it's up and to the right. Okay, if you go the opposite, down and to the left, you see francium, which is the lowest electronegative. Okay, I have a little video here that kind of explains electronegativity a little bit better too as an animation. So as you can see, as we're going across the period here, it's increasing by a lot. Fluorine's really high up there because it's the most electronegative. It's not just that period. This period does it as well, where it's increasing going from left to right. As you can see, it's not as high as fluorine though. It even increases going across this third period too as well, but not as much because we have these transition metals. But it still follows the trend, and you can actually see as we get further down here, the nonmetals are way greater. You see nonmetals right here, it's labeled, are way greater than the metals themselves. Okay, so this is going across a period, going from left to right. You can see that it's increasing. Okay, now if we move this periodic table a little bit, we're going to see what happens as you go down a group. Okay, so we're going to look at oxygen right here. It's higher than sulfur, which is higher than selenium, tellurium, polonium. So it decreases as you go down a group, or increases as you go up. Okay, that's for nonmetals. This is for metals right here. As you can see, it decreases going down the group. So that's a brief tutorial about what electronegativity is. If you have any questions, let me know.